everyone, I am Beth. Nice to meet you if you haven't been here before. I am a medium, and what that means is that I talk to those who have passed. And I'm going to do a little bit something different today, where I am out and about in my little town and kind of pulled off to the side of the road in an area that I absolutely love and adore. There's a little tiny cemetery up there, and it's a really cute little place. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is a case from 1933 in the area that has a little bit of a mystery to it. It's a mystery case. So in 1933, there was a family that was killed in Taylorville, near where I am from. And I'm trying to remember, pull up all the stuff. But that's right. So it was Green Davis and his family that was murdered. There was the wife, the wife, and the children were all murdered in their home. And after not much deliberation in 1933, because he had hired an African-American man, a black man, to be one of his people who helped around the farm. Now, Green Davis, from what I understand, was not a very nice man. He did not pay the people right like he said he would. He was very business savage is the best word that I can come up with, because he never did what he said he was going to do, and everything was about how much money he could keep for himself. And so his family ended up being murdered in 1933, and they accused the person who he had hired to work for him, who was a black man, and his name was, well, he was known as Orphan Jones. And I'm going to look up for sure his actual name, because that wasn't his name. And the way I heard about this story was through a dear friend of mine from the area, and they actually lived here around the time that this happened. So her and her husband is the one who knows the story better, but her husband actually knew somebody who was involved with this story in a way, and he has a personal emotional connection to this story, and it has nothing to do with the family that was murdered, but it does have to do with this person who kept saying over and over again, it was not it was not Orphan Jones who did this. I know it wasn't Orphan Jones. It wasn't Orphan Jones. It wasn't Orphan Jones. She kept saying for years and years that she was under the house when this happened. Now, and she has since passed. And as a medium, I have spoken to her on the other side. So when I brought her in, I asked her how she knew what had happened. But when I asked her what she saw, she shows me what she saw. And it was a white man with dark hair and dark eyes, and like dark eyebrow, very thick dark eyebrow, and like a pointed chin, longer face, pointed chin. And so in order to corroborate that story, which I know you guys won't be able to corroborate this story, but in order to corroborate her story, because I am not one who just takes anything at face value, I also called in Green Davis's wife, Ivy, and asked her what she saw. And she actually woke up and saw him. And what she saw, the face that she saw and the face that the other girl showed me were the same. Now, this is all just me doing my reading on this portion of it, you know, the fact that I saw these things. However, the story is that after the town had come to terms and decided that Orphan Jones was the one who killed this whole family, they went, and there was, at the time, a communist lawyer who took on the case of Orphan Jones. And because he took this case on, and in the area at the time it was very, very racially driven, he ended up getting attacked in the street. He was accosted by the mob. He had multiple attacks on him, and he still kept his ground. He still did everything he could to try and save Orphan Jones, who 3 years later sadly was hung for this crime that He didn't believe he did. There was not enough evidence. He kept bringing it back to the court saying this is wrong, we need to appeal. You know, there's not enough evidence or circumstantial evidence. The only evidence you have is that he worked for him and he had access to the house. And that's all the evidence that you had. And that was it. That's all that they used to convict this poor Orphan Jones. And when I bring in Orphan Jones to talk to him, I do feel that Orphan Jones himself was a very kind person. He was very loving. He took care of his family. The reason that they said that Orphan Jones was the one who did it is because when he was hired by Mr. Green Davis, Mr. Green Davis didn't pay Orphan Jones the amount or when he said he would pay him. And so they said that Orphan Jones, you know, hated Green Davis for this. But when I bring Orphan Jones into me to talk to me as a medium and as someone who has passed, he just doesn't have the heart to do something like that. He didn't even bring anything like that up to Green Davis, Mr. Green Davis, more than one time. He brought it up to him one time, and from what he's showing me, and there was a little bit of, you know, some anger, some words, but nothing attacking, nothing overburdened. It was just like he had had it. He had had enough. He was just, you know, standing up and saying, look, you said you were going to pay me this much. Well, Mr. Green Davis just went overboard, yelling at him, screaming at him, all of that. And Mr. Orphan Jones said, you know, fine, just fine. And he never brought it up again. From what he's telling me, he never brought it up again. He never wanted to lose that job because that was how he was taking care of his family. And so the one time he brought it up, you know, Green Davis said he was gonna fire him and find somebody else, and there were other people that could do the job much better than him. And he was just a very mean person from what I'm seeing that Orphan Jones dealt with. So I see that, and then I see in the home where they were murdered, like I said, a white gentleman with the pointed chin, the dark eyes, the dark hair, and he is doing it out of vengeance. From what I get, he definitely had done some business with Mr. Green Davis at some point, and this was definitely about money, and he was sick of the dishonesty, he was just a tyrant, basically, in his business realm. Now, the person who killed these people was obviously not a very nice person either, obviously. But he got away literally with murder. And I want to find out who did it. So I have been doing my research and trying to figure stuff out. But in the meantime, I have also written down the things that they have told me, you know, personally. So now my job is to go and to corroborate what they have told me compared to the truth that we know about the case. And I would love for anybody out there who is interested in this kind of stuff to help me do any research that they can to help me figure out what's going on. Because we know the facts. We know that the family was murdered. We know that Mr. Green Davis was a tyrant and a horrible human being. His wife's name was Ivy. They killed the wife, and I believe it was 2 children. This was in Taylorville, Maryland, which is very close to Berlin. This was in 1933. Let me see the date. So he was killed with his wife Ivy, along with their 2 teenage girls, Elizabeth Gertrude, 15, and Mary Lee, 13. They lived in a farm in Taylorville, not far from Ocean Pines. They grew crops. Oh, this is something I did not know about prior, because I'm trying to not do a whole lot of research when I do these kinds of readings, because then when I bring them in, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. And that way they can tell me what I don't know. But apparently, Orphan Jones had been hired weeks before, but he had been laid off just days before the murders. So that was one of the reasons, I guess, that they thought that he had done it. And there had been a dispute about wages, according to the neighbors. So the local police arrested him based on that. So it was 1931. I apologize, not 1933. For some reason I had 1933 stuck in my head. And it was the event of October in 1931. So this was in October of 1931. I'm sorry, 1933, 1931. So, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I will do some more research and put some stuff up that I research and find, and I'll send some links to you guys if you guys want down in the description below. There's a book out that somebody wrote about the murder, and I'll put that link below. There's lots of articles about it because there's such a mystery behind it, because a lot of people out here now truly believe it was never Orphan Jones who did this, because one, because it was racially driven. Two, there was no proof that he did it. Three, there was a young lady who did say that she was actually there when the murder happened, and that she said it was not him. And then the personal side of this is my dear friend who actually knew that young lady and spoke to her and knew her very well over the years. So that's where this is at. This is where I'm at. I've been looking at some of the pictures, trying to see if I find the person who looks like him. That's where I'm at right now. So if you guys want to help out to try and figure this out, let's do a mystery together and let's figure it out. I love this kind of stuff. So anything you guys want to send to me, go ahead, you know, and I'll put my Facebook below. You can message me. I also have Twitter and an Instagram. If you guys find stuff, you guys can send it to there too. I am learning how to use all this stuff, so forgive me if I mess it up and if I don't respond quickly or something, because I'm learning. So please forgive that portion of it, but I am going to continue to keep doing these videos. I'm gonna keep going on, and I am so excited to start this series that I'm gonna do. I haven't decided what to call it yet, but maybe by the end of this, maybe by the time I put it up, I'll figure out what to call this series. But if you guys have any mysteries in your hometown areas and you want me to do a reading on the people that are in it, and you want me to see if I can talk to those that have passed that have to do with the mystery, and we can do some research and figure out if what I'm saying is true or if it's just my own imagination, please, 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 please tell me. Please help me, because as much as I know that I can talk to those who have passed, the other side of me, the logic side of me, says this has got to be all in your imagination. This has got to be fake. So please, please, if you have anything to add to any of this, or you know something, or you discover something or research it, please tell me. And also please give me more of these to do, because these are some of my favorite things to do. Okay? Love you all. Have a wonderful day. And remember, Spirit is in the house. Bye! So this is the tiny little cemetery that I love to hang out next to. Isn't it so cute? I love it.